Vice President Dr. Bawumia and former President John Mahama were among the thousands of mourners who converged on the forecourts of the State House to bid former chairman of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Dr. Ntumy, farewell. The late Apostle Dr. Ntumy was the youngest to become the chairman of the Church of Pentecost and was dearly loved for being a man of faith who lived a life marked by great trials and even greater triumphs for God and the nation. Caleb Kuda reports.
At age 40, Apostle Dr. Ntumy was the youngest to ascend the highest office of the largest Christian body in Ghana, the Church of Pentecost. But prior to ascension to office, he would face life-threatening battles in Liberia as a hostage during the Civil War, 3 accidents, one in Ivory Coast, that would later lead to his paralysis for 15 years after his retirement. These notwithstanding, his tenure saw outstanding growth in the church. His funeral therefore drew more than 10,000 mourners who converged on the State House to mourn him. Personalities included Vice President Dr. Bawumia and former President John Mahama. President Akufo-Addo, in a tribute read on his behalf by Vice President Dr. Bawumia, described the late Apostle Dr. Ntumy as an outstanding servant of the church and the public.
He was well known for his discipline, honesty, and integrity. He was an outstanding servant of the church, the Ghanaian people, and of the public interest. His objective was always the advancement of Ghana.
His immediate family shared the following tributes in his honor.
He suffered so much, enduring countless surgeries and spending more time in the hospital than at home. Despite the pain, the Lord was his hope, and he steadfastly clung to him. He never left his God. He stood till the very end and fought the good fight. Like Paul, he finished his course and kept the faith.
He was a God-fearing man who steadfastly held on to God when he was in the highest places where some people forget their God, as well as in his lowest moments of earthly pains and sufferings, where some people would have cursed their God. Others may have shunned their faith just after some series of earthly afflictions they would have had to endure. Not him, though. His life depicted the practicality of walking and living in the fear of God with a pure heart and in great humility. We saw his faith blossom even when he was confined to a wheelchair.
Speaking on the theme, a man greatly loved, Chairman of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Eric Nyamiche, challenged Christians to be inspired by the life of Apostle Ntumy.
He was a sign and a wonder to our generation. He survived the war in Liberia, 185 days in Flamingo camp as hostage. He survived an assassination attack just by his home. Over 14 years of paralysis. He survived 18 operations in 15 years and 18 surgeries, as you say, in 15 years. The fact that heaven loves a person does not insulate such a fellow from human predicament. Today's theology without suffering is a poor theology, and it is producing poor Christians.
Some of the mourners shared their fondest memories of the late Apostle Michael Kwabena Ntumy.
It's a celebration of a Christian general. In fact, Phil Mashar. Perhaps I was the first person to use general for him. When he had what I would call an accident and wrote a book. In description, I said that, in fact, he has demonstrated himself as a Christian general. And if you see the celebration today, people are celebrating because he endured hardship and still proved that he's a Christian and a Christian leader.
Ascending the highest office in the church at the age of 40 years and being able to have the ear for the young and have the eyes for the old and being able to humbly jostle his way through is something that those of us who by the grace of God have been also positioned in some places in the church, we need to emulate.
Looking at the atmosphere and even the message that came out tells each and everyone that we should rely upon God. And anywhere that God wants us to be, we must be calm and put ourselves there. Because we have found that God is a true God.
I'm awed by his resilience. I mean, having gone through 18 surgeries, someone would just give up on life. But this man stayed on to the end. I mean, to the point that he retired as a minister of the church at 65, finally came home from abroad, and that is where God called him home. This is resilience for me. And I'm praying that this kind of grace will fall upon us.
Have you seen humility before? That was him. Humility personified.
The burial service soon turned joyous as mourners celebrated a life well lived. The funeral service in honor of the late Apostle Dr. Michael Ntumy has come to an end at the forecourts of the State House, with mourners and celebrants alike called upon to emulate his life of humility, sacrifice, faith, resilience, and many more. For Citi News, I am Caleb Kuda.